We're in the Hollywood Hills visiting with what can well be described as one of the most popular comedy film stars ever to grace the silver screen, with movies like, and correct me if I'm right, Betty, or wrong, Let's Dance,
right?
Happy-Go-Lucky, Incendiary Blonde, Somebody Loves Me, Here Come the Waves, Annie Get Your Gun, which you were tremendous in.
Thank you.
The Greatest Show on Earth. This blonde bombshell, as she was known all over the world in the 40s and 50s, was and continues to be a bundle of talent and energy. Her frenetic madcap antics are still imitated in every country, in every language. Here is Betty Hutton. You look sensational.
Thank you, Mike.
You really do, and I'm so glad to see you healthy and happy looking again.
Well, I'm happy to be back in the business. I just got my feet wet doing a Baretta, and as you know, Father McGuire from Portsmouth, where I've just been, wanted me to do this show 5 years ago, and I was too frightened, you know.
Wanted you to do my show?
Your show especially, because all the Catholics back there, you know, when I became a Catholic, watch Mike Douglas. You're on at least 5 times a day.
Yeah, it's kind of spills over in that area.
Yeah.
Boston and Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yeah. Portsmouth.
I want to ask you about your family. I want to ask you about what you've been through. I certainly want to ask that, but I want to.
That's going to take hours.
Can I just ease into it?
Yeah.
Was yours a show business family?
No. I was born in Battle Creek, Michigan, and my mother was a bootlegger.
And you said she became an alcoholic, too.
Yes. I started singing at 3 years old on top of the kitchen table, singing
What?
Black Bottom, she's got 'em.
Did you really?
Yeah, my mother played the guitar, and I remember the song Sweetheart Sigma Chi. Well, I knew the parody to it. The girl of my dreams has dyed her hair. It was a dirty parody.
Oh, no. That's as far as we can go.
That's all I learned then, you know. But she became an alcoholic, and then we moved to Detroit, Michigan.
That made your life very difficult as a youngster.
Very difficult.
Did she die young because of that?
No.
No?
She didn't die, Mike, till 10 years ago. She was burned to death. She got sober when I was 20 years old, and I took a lot of praying. But she was a fantastic woman. I only lived for her.
Interesting you said a while ago, and this stayed with me, because I find this so interesting. You've been married 4 times, and you said the only person who ever loved me was my mother.
That's right.
You know that, for sure.
Well, I wasn't good marriage material, Mike. You know, I had never seen a successful marriage. I'd only been in show business, and the roughest part of it, I was born in the slums, of course, but then I met Barnard Baruch when I was 14 on Broadway. I became a star at 14, you know. Then I did 2 Broadway shows in a row. And
at 14?
Yeah, he was my mentor. And he taught me everything, because I only went to the 9th grade in school. And it was fantastic once I met him. But all the other part, you'll have to read in my book.
Now, you said something that I don't quite understand. You said, I was never marriage material because I never saw a happy marriage.
I didn't.
What has that got to do with being marriage material?
Well, I was married to my career.
Ah, now we're getting to it.
Yes, it's my fault. I should not have been married, because even my kids, Mike, suffered terribly because I became so famous. Not bragging, but it just happened, you know. And when they became 13 and 14, Lindsay and Candy, they got so hung up on they weren't the same as the other kids, you know. And wherever they went, they made the fuss over me. And that isn't right.
That's not easy for children to
they've got to have mommy at home. Even though I took them everywhere, it didn't make it right. If you know, every movie star woman has a rough time with the kids. They have a rough time. The mothers die inside, you know.
Men in this business,
that's different.
It's easier for, but women almost have to be tough, don't they, to be in this business?
Well, not only
I don't mean unfeminine tough. I mean, but the business
tough.
Makes you tough.
Well, the one I've backed into now is even getting tougher. The TV and even the movies now, Mike, the whole world is different. It's time, money, get it done, you know.
Yeah.
You don't
Wasn't
have time.
that in your day?
No. You really had time to rehearse with the actors, and you had fantastic writers and directors. They're not around anymore, you know. The new ones coming up need the real gut training we had, you know.
The tradition, being a star and having everybody bow and do things for you, and you can command this and command that. Now suddenly you return, you're still a star, but not in the eyes of those people because you've been away so long.
The backstage
Is that
part, right,
tough to cope
is
with?
very tough because I have to go see casting directors now. I have to almost literally audition for a part, and it's kind of embarrassing, because the parts really aren't that big yet. But Father McGuire wanted me to get my feet wet, and because I was trying to become a nun, and I wasn't good enough,
You were trying to become a nun?
Yes, but I wasn't good enough. I mean, they're so fantastic, and it was just too tough a role for me to handle, But I love everybody in Portsmouth, and that's why I want this show to hit there first, because I love my church, and I love Father McGuire, and without the rough marriages and the rough background, Mike, I never would have found God. And that's why I am not as frightened anymore. I really don't care if I become a big star. Again, I'm writing a book now called Backstage You Can Have. I want people to know me now, me under God.
But at the beginning, when all the success began to come at a very tender age,
right?
At that time you really thought in your heart, this is going to make me very, very happy.
I thought money would save my mother's life. For instance, when I joined Lopez, I became a hit on Broadway, I thought, my mother will quit drinking, money will do it, I'll take her out of the slums. Well, all she did was switch from beer to scotch.
Oh my.
And it got worse.
In reality, the business made you miserable.
It did. I was not happy, but I was very happy that the audience loved me. You see, Mike, you're only happy because you can't make them do that. Nobody can make us stand up and say bravo in the Vegas nightclubs that I doubled into from pictures, That was a thrill. With just a camera on you, it's kind of a cold thing to do because they're watching the lights, and it's not the same thing as an audience.
No.
So you have to go see your picture with an audience isn't the same, So I loved when I split from the studio when I was a big star and play Vegas or Florida, because then that reaction, or coming out of the theater, the Palace Theater, when I broke Judy Garland's record, they would stand out there because I had entertained their boys in not Germany, but when that war was over, the Second World War, and then I was in Korea, and all those parents stood there, and they wanted to touch me because I had touched their sons. And because I was overseas in mud up to here, entertaining them.
You think, Betty, thinking back over those years and those days, you think you would have been happier had you not been a performer? Had you done something else in life?
I really couldn't tell you, Mike, because that's all I ever did was perform. These past 10 years have been really lonely for me because I didn't have the performing thing going. I only knew it, but I found God. So I hope to. Like, Mike, for instance, when Pete left me, and it was such a shock to me, I tried to kill myself.
Pete Condolier.
Yes, I want every kid to know that I started to take pills. And I didn't want to live. And I went to New England, and the AA people got me into a hospital.
What kind of pills?
To sleep. I just wanted to go to sleep. I was hurting so bad inside.
You converted to Catholicism.
That's right.
During this period.
Yes, I did.
What attracted you, or what has attracted you to
When I was a little girl, I didn't know about God. My mother was an atheist, and the nuns were right across the street from us. And sometimes I had to run from the brutal stuff going on, and they would hide me in their skirts. I wasn't a Catholic, and you weren't allowed to go to Catholic school then, but they would take me and they taught me catechism. So I had my first taste of it then, and I learned about God, and then I got into a Pentecostal church where it was hallelujah,
Yeah.
And he took me, Brother Clyde, he took me downstairs and prayed with me and told me about Jesus. And once I really understood it, I never went on the stage, Mike, without praying. And when I got to Hollywood, it started to slowly go out of my system, and I got into trouble.